neste momento, tá, de pico pandêmico que a gente está vendo.
At this moment of the pandemic peak, when we see there is a difficult situation in maternity wards, because of the situation that's happening in maternity wards, it should be evaluated like what happened with Zika in 2016. If possible, we recommend delaying pregnancy until a more suitable moment, so you can have your pregnancy in a more peaceful way.
Let's get more now from Alessandro Ampietti following the story from Bogota. Actually, Alessandro, there's been increasing concern about the effect that COVID is having on babies and young children in Brazil. But tell us more about that, and as well, reaction to women delaying their pregnancies.
Yes, these are all very worrying developments in Brazil, one of the worst affected countries in the world, and one in which people are increasingly critical of the response of the national government there, of President Jair Bolsonaro, the lack of a centralized effort to contain these new surges of infections that seem to be in particular due to the fact that there are new variants inside that country. One in particular called P1 that was originally found in Brazil and is now increasingly found across Latin America. The issue is that health officials are still studying the effects of this variant, so all they can really do is try to convince people to, in this case, delay pregnancy, and still they're studying the effects on younger people. They believe that this variant is affecting them more. Now, official figures say that in Brazil, so far since the beginning of the pandemic, 800 children have died, of which 500 were babies. But a new study that was presented just a couple of days ago says that that number might be much higher. 2,600 children aged 9 or younger have died due to COVID-19, and of which 1,300 were babies. So numbers that are way higher, but this is still being studied based on excessive deaths that have happened in children due to respiratory disease since the beginning of the pandemic. A very worrying situation, and one in which a lot of Brazilians believe the government is not doing enough to try to contain the situation.
Right, so we're seeing a worsening situation in Brazil, and then both Argentina and Colombia, where you are now, have seen protests against the latest COVID restrictions.
Yes, that has been the case in the last couple of days. In Colombia, where I am, street vendors, shop owners have taken to the streets on Friday. Again, Saturday morning, they blocked main avenues and transportation hubs because they're saying they cannot deal with further restrictions. We're under a complete lockdown during the weekend here in Bogota and another 5 main cities in Colombia. They say that the economic fallout is way too harsh on them and that they simply cannot sustain more closures. But authorities say they don't really have an alternative when these new variants that they have now been confirmed that are in Colombia, both the one that originated in Brazil and the other one from the UK, are now here in Bogota, for example, and authorities believe are responsible for this major surge that we're going through, the fact that ICU units are practically completely full in a number of cities. Argentina is going through something that's quite similar with hospitals. They are also on the brink of collapse. What really sparked the protests on Friday in Buenos Aires, though, was the fact that the national government has decided once again to close the schools there until April 30th. So a lot of families took to the streets saying that they want the schools open, even if the government there believes that the fact that the schools have reopened have pushed infections at a higher rate in the city of Buenos Aires.
Thank you.